Well, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be. Welcome to Zycel's Tech Talk. My name is Tri Wynn. I am the product manager and sales manager here at Zycel North America, and I'm glad to see you and have you here. We're going to be talking about is your network ready to be cybersecurity insured? That's a big topic nowadays with a lot of insurance companies offering services and insurance to companies, to partners, to VARs as well as the end users on protecting themselves against things like ransomware, things that can affect their business, and things that can affect just overall operation and liability of information and productivity of that company. So before we get started, if you'd like to join in the conversation, please use the Q&A section to send me questions, and I'll try to answer those as I can throughout the presentation. So let's go ahead and just jump right on in and take a look at and introduce who Zycel is. Zycel Networks has been in business now 35 plus years, over 100 million devices making global connections worldwide. We have over 650 passionate employees serving in 150 different global markets. Over 1 million businesses use and work with Zycel solutions today. We are an award-winning brand. As you can see here, just some of the awards that we've gotten recently from industry. We are proud to be part of that as well. We are a channel company, so we work through the channel, through distribution. So we have representatives, account managers, David Chen, Andy Gujral, and Jacob Olson, who will be servicing the different regions in North America and Canada, as you see here. And so we're here to help you with pre-sales, post-sales, tech support, getting those people online for you, any systems engineering services, functions there, as well as helping coordinate with distribution side for you, for stock, for pricing, all of that. We're here to service and help you finding the right solution to provide to you. So cybersecurity, cyber attacks are just on the rise across the board. The cost of cybercrime is expected to reach 10.5 trillion annually by 2025. So according to Cybersecurity Ventures, is up from 3 trillion in 2015. So quite a lot of action happening there. A 200% increase in cyber attacks on the global scale, probably mostly because of the COVID-19 pandemic. A lot of people started working from home. The World Economic Forum reported in 2020 that the shift to remote work expanded really quickly, and so the attack surface of remote users is now increased dramatically. So as more devices are getting connected through, as quickly as we could at that point in time, there's a lot more vulnerabilities that are potentially exploited. Cybersecurity Ventures also estimates there will be about 30 billion connected devices this year, many of which could be vulnerable to attack because of either poor security design, or maybe just from security perspective, they are remote devices that aren't as thought of as being, or needed before to be as secure as it needs to be today. Ransomware attacks, these are the challenges that we're always faced with. And a lot of customers and a lot of partners like yourself may be installing to these kinds of deployments, providing network security to your customers. But maybe your customers aren't looking to maybe subscribe to some of these advanced features or advanced functionality of these firewalls that they can do. But that's going to be where the problem lies, is that they won't realize that they're exposed to that. And a part of the cybersecurity insurance part is that you need to fix those exposure points. And ransomware attack is on the rise. Denial of service attacks are also there, constant, and they're there. We see a lot of phishing and social engineering attacks that happen. Things that are just even like in my office, there are emails that we get that seemingly are coming from valid sources, or they're very timely. Maybe you're working on a project and there's a PO that comes through and says, "Oh, we need to expedite this very quickly." There's always a sense of urgency that comes with a lot of those phishing emails to try to get you to act quickly and a little bit off guard. It allows for them to get access to information or data, or to your accounts, etc. They're targeting a lot of times businesses in like the healthcare sector. We hear about a lot of that in the news, on breaches, on information that's been lost. and logins and things are getting sold on the dark web, data breaches, exposure to that, uh, information that's getting lost or maybe not recoverable in some cases with ransomware. And then there's also a risk, a type of attack that's a risk is where there's maybe a skill gap, we call it, where maybe some of the IT managers or even some partners are not yet up to a kind of informative level that can provide adequate protection to these partners and facing a lot of these different types of threats. So the consequences of all of this is that there is a large result in downtime, financial losses, especially if somebody gets ransomed. The average downtime to a ransomware attack is 21 days, especially if they didn't have any kind of preparation. There wasn't any backups in place. Computers and servers go down with that, backup to those information. And so sometimes the company might go into a very difficult situation where they can't handle their customer processes or orders that they've had. So it becomes a huge, huge mess, as well as damage to the company's reputation. Because how can that happen to some sort of company in your business? How can you let that happen? Especially even from the partner perspective, as a managed service provider, if you're providing security to your customer and they are breached, it can look bad on your company in terms of uh, being able to provide the adequate, protection to your customers. So organizations are investing in cybersecurity to protect not only data but also the reputation and the customer's trust in this regard. And so we find it very important that the entire chain, from vendor all the way to the end user, is educated in a way that allows for this protection and these kinds of barriers to be put in place to protect the entire company, not only the partners but also the end users. So there is that topic of, well, who's liable in these kinds of consequences. And in some cases we've seen where the end user has gone after the installer or the partner or the managed service provider because they're saying it must be negligence, or the company's not doing their due diligence in that. And so from a partner perspective, you need to have the tools, the auditing, the information, the plan in place to make sure that you've got yourself covered, that you did do, in fact, due diligence in case this kind of liability gets pushed to you. But that is also what cybersecurity insurance is also providing as protection for you as well. But it also requires you to meet certain types of things. So in order to get insurance, there are specific demands that are required, just like when you get any kind of insurance today. Cybersecurity insurance is all about managing risk, right? So the insurance company is not going to insure you or your end user if your network is exposed, has no kind of protection in there. So there is that increased demand for cybersecurity insurance to give you that kind of financial protection. And the insurance providers now also scrutinize that company's security posture. So when it checks, do you have a way to recover? Do you have things in hardware, robust network security hardware in place in those areas to protect that network? And so that's a really one of those critical factors that they use in allowing to providing you that kind of cybersecurity insurance. So it helps you to qualify for it first off, and then based on how secure you are, your reputation, maybe like the amount of insurance claims that comes from you is low or non-existent, then it reduces the cost of that cybersecurity insurance. So it's just like, our home and auto type insurances as well. So you live in a riskier area, your insurance is going to be higher than someone who is not as risky. Or if you take care of, here in California, there's lots of wildfires. And if you live in those areas, there are requirements for you to have brush clearance, up to a certain number of feet away from the home to help, again, protect against that, right? It's all about mitigating risk, mitigating that, and therefore liability, and it would reduce the cost. And I think that's going to be one of those industries here with cybersecurity insurance that demands that we have. Maybe there will be in the future some sort of legislation that might end up requiring everybody to have this kind of protection. But who knows? But until then, I think it's still beneficial from an MSP point of view to offer these kinds of services and make sure that they are providing the best effort protection as possible at an affordable price. Obviously, everybody is searching for how can I find the most affordable solution that can give me the most maximum protection for what I need to qualify for this. And one of those pieces is about the network security hardware. These are physical devices designed to protect the integrity and confidentiality of your network. So things like firewalls, intrusion detection systems, intrusion prevention systems, unified threat management appliances, or network access control devices. All of these kinds of things come into play when dealing with potential network security threats. Um, the role of that security hardware, it's usually just to detect and block any kind of malicious traffic, and be able to log that information, monitor it for suspicious activity. It also separates maybe the different layers of things that you're using within the network. So you'll have maybe a voice over IP VLAN network. It's separate from the private network, which is separate from the public network. And then there's certain types of security policies that could be enforced in real time on those different networks. So you can minimize risk by just blocking guest network altogether, but then it's not as convenient. So you find the balance between providing convenience, providing services, while still maintaining some sort of security posture. So for the guest, for example, they can surf the internet, they can go to web pages, but then you can enable blockage to certain types that are maybe higher risk, pages that might potentially lead them to malware, things like that. You can offer those kinds of services, blocking those public guest networks, whereas the private may be a little bit more lenient. That allows for them to go to certain sites, but still under your control and under your log, so that you can go back and audit that information later on if necessary. Or in some cases, maybe the voice over IP network gets no access at all. So even if somebody, plugged themselves in to that network, got data, they couldn't go anywhere, right? It can only go to that voice server or whatever it may be. So you can find ways to minimize your threats or even use hardware to shut down access points that are not in use during off hours. So when the company, nobody's there, nothing's open, or on weekends when it's closed, maybe all the Wi-Fi AP should just be shut down because there's no need for them to have access. So the hardware acts as that first line of defense against cybersecurity attacks. Cybersecurity insurance mitigate financial risk from data breaches, ransomware, and other kinds of attacks that might affect business operation, might affect uh, overall productivity, things like that. It usually covers incident responses, any legal cost if there's litigation or liability, uh, things that lawsuits and such that are going on, a customer notification, and business interruption. So it can cover all that. It also has an underwriting focus where it's based on risk assessment of current cybersecurity posture. Do you have a plan? Do you have a recovery plan? Do you have any security in place? Beyond even the hardware, what are the things that you are doing in addition to help educate your employees, again, to find ways to mitigate risks even further? Those are the types of things that will help insurance companies determine whether you are eligible or not. So, how does network security hardware influence the eligibility? Well, insurance providers evaluate the following things. Is there a presence of a modern enterprise grade type firewall that can provide a lot or as many possible threat management solutions there, blocking and things like that? A deployment of an intrusion detection or intrusion prevention system, and also, are you using segmentation of your network? And are you monitoring all of that? So, in a break fix scenario, if some of you are doing break fix type this might be something that you might want to consider as part of being offering as a managed service, because having a break fix, not knowing if something is happening as it's happening until it is too late and you are already compromised or the ransomware has already, gotten past the firewall, then there's little that you can, do to kind of help to recover that. But in order for you to provide a active service, these alerts and alarms, if something is happening, you can hopefully react in time and mitigate some of those threats. So having that monitoring capability and having the auditing capability is really important. So it's beneficial in that it can determine if coverage is given at all. So if you don't have any of these hardware pieces, most likely the cybersecurity insurance is going to deny you coverage, because why would they cover something that is so high risk has you got if you don't have any kind of security system in place? It also influences the premiums and deductibles, right? Again, it's all about risk. And if you can minimize risk, you can get better coverage and but at a lower price. It also reflects, your commitment as an MSP and the end user's commitment to doing proactive defense. Nobody wants to react after the fact, once they've gotten ransomware, then putting the system in, right? It's going to still cost you more to now fix the issue, get now the equipment to protect you from here on out, and get you coverage, because now you're technically at a higher risk. Since you didn't protect yourself in the beginning, you are still at high risk until you can prove over a long period of time that you are not a risk any longer. And so you may not see those premiums go down for some time. And so Zysil is proud to be part of the CNA CVE numbering authority. We're authorized with, and have this distinction, as well as with other very large enterprise type vendors out there. But what it means is that we as a company are required and committed to provide any information that is found regarding any kind of vulnerabilities or any kind of exposures our products provide from a security standpoint. So we then within the CVE, we also release information on how to mitigate, how to protect. Maybe there might be certain firmwares that need to be upgraded on which models that have exposure. And, we work through this process in providing that information to the public. So with Zycel's product, we offer security that uses AI to constantly evolve. Our award-winning AI-powered cybersecurity solution within and using Nebula can provide flexible security access, and provide you some of the world's leading protection vendors out there. So we integrate their solutions within our products to help against the latest threats out there, so you don't have to worry about it. We're using partners and vendors and their expertise to do that. You can securely connect workplaces. Again, work from home since 2020 has expanded and now continue throughout the industry. So finding ways to connect multiple locations, connecting people from home, connecting from different offices or remote offices back to the main network so they can do similar activities if they were sitting in the office. So we have things like site-to-site VPN, IPsec VPN for client devices, hub and spoke to connect multiple offices together that can be fully meshed together, as well as site-to-device within the solution. And in our cloud platform allows for you to provision gateways and setting the security policies and synchronize that across multiple locations for the same customer. So it helps you to seamlessly synchronize those multi-site deployments that might have similar or shared information or configuration, and then manage those security profiles under that. So our cloud and on-prem sync function we just launched within our Nebula platform. So Nebula is our cloud managed solution that allows for, it's built for MSPs and allows for you to manage firewall security appliances, wireless access points, and our advanced Ethernet solutions, as well as our switches and networks there. So you have a single pane of glass for all of those networking components in a single network stack. But the H series just launched with the smart sync function, allows for you to bridge both the cloud and the on-prem environment configurations. So there are some configurations that you can see a more, uh, I would say, more simplified view within the cloud platform. But if you need to do more advanced functionality, advanced configuration, you can do that within the device GUI itself or through an SSH tunnel that takes you to the device GUI. But the configurations, whatever you make within either platform, will be synced into a master configuration. So it helps to simplify your network management. If you need to go and do more sophisticated things and it's easier to do it on the on-prem side, then you go to the on-prem menus to do that. And then when you need to do just more simple connectivity configuration such, then you could do that within the Nebula Cloud. Our goal is to try to get as much of those features within the on-prem side into the Nebula Cloud, but it does take some time to get that view. But just know that even though that configuration, it doesn't exist in the Nebula side of things, the H series configuration on the device itself is still collected and still saved in the cloud configuration. It's just not viewable at the moment. So I mentioned that we power ourselves through some of the best in class security experts, as you can see here, provide all the different services, sandboxing, web filtering, intrusion detection, prevention, IP reputation, app control, anti-malware protection, antivirus, which is part of that ransomware blocking, etc. So all of these, we use their expertise and integrate their signatures, integrate their solutions within our product. So we know security is important. So uh, just so you know, we've just announced as well that even on the base level H series models that we say hardware only, it now comes with entry level defense. So entry defense pack, it provides some essential protection like IP reputation and gives you cloud network security and be able for you to get the reporting and such within the cloud as well. So we know that even these are security appliances, so you should use them with at least some level of security. Our USG Lite 60AX, they have an elite pack upgrade that can give you then premium ransomware prevention, and it's a more advanced web filtering, blocking solutions there. Um, and then within our access points, we have something called connect and protect licenses and security. So at the endpoint itself or themselves, you can do things like IP reputation to protect the network initially there. But ultimately, with our hardware platform with the USGFLEX H series, we offer the Gold Pack, which is everything unlocked, complete, full management, full cloud, full functionality, including sandboxing and IP reputation blocking, as well as all of your malware solutions that you saw from that previous slide. All that is included in there. And so when you want to buy that bundle, usually all of the model names have the model name and it ends in BUN for bundle. And when you buy one of those, it comes packaged with a year license of the full UTM Gold. So it provides advanced protection and seamless management within this Nebula Cloud platform. Sandboxing, IP reputation is designed for customers who want fast, reactive cybersecurity for your networks. So these are kind of the breakdown between the entry defense pack that the H series provides for you and all the services. And it's not limited to these, but it's included within that hardware bundle, which require kind of like that subscription service. So that's the security pack that you would buy in a 1 year or 2 year. You can renew to that. And they're also stackable. So if you need to get like to a 3 year, that's going to be you can do a 2 year plus a bundled hardware, for example, and get a total of 3 years. And why is licensing important? When you buy the unlicensed, you do get, again, some of the security benefits. You can get the SPI firewall functionality, address translation. You can get some denial of service protection, and you also can do encrypted VPN. But we want you to get to the license side because it provides you a world of things and security services to protect you against all the different types of threats, right? It's not a single threat anymore where people are going to a certain port or going to a certain IP address or anything like that. They're using applications, they're using um, different types of vulnerabilities, they're using phishing, those using all those ways to try to find, a kind of a way into a crack in the system to get into the network and to provide to get access and cause havoc and things like that. So getting the bundled hardware is, as you know, I would encourage that. That is should be what you lead with. Even if your customer is hesitant and doesn't want to buy it right off the bat, you can still offer it as a 30-day free trial within the product. You can activate that when you buy the hardware, gives you 30 days of gold licensing. And from that, you can provide the different reportings and really help to convince your customers. So we also launching for small offices, the USGFLEX 50H and 50HP. So this is the kind of small office, home office, where you're looking for performance that can deliver up to 2 gigabits SPI firewall. It will still do UTM as well, but just from a kind of a lower tier, I would say. And you anywhere for your customers are doing like 100 to 200 megabits per second in an office. Don't have very many employees or devices needed to connect, but you still want security. That's what this product will provide you with. And so the higher end models can provide you, like our 700H. It offers a new era in cybersecurity performance, gives you up to 15 gigabits high performance SPI firewall, up to 4 gigs of full UTM. It's AI powered through the cybersecurity UTM functionalities, has integrated PoE ports, as well as 2.5 gig and 10 gig ports that you can use to maximize the throughput. And it's manageable within our Nebula Cloud platform. The AI security intelligence provides you now information and insights through what we call AI Secu Pilot. That is AI powered insight with our Secu Reporter software. You can use it to easily monitor, identify threats, and it can automatically identify abnormal user behavior. You can create customized reports with even your logo, and you can move around the widgets to offer what your customer really cares about or needs most. So imagine now releasing a monthly report that you give to your customers along with their bill that says, hey, we've blocked this many ransomware attacks. We've mitigated these many viruses, etc. This is how much bandwidth you've used or your employees have used. These are all the web pages that they're the most popular ones that they've gone to, what kind of application they've used. Again, that can help to quantify or to qualify what this service is actually doing. Because maybe sometimes network threat management doesn't necessarily, show up easily. Like, how do I know it's even working? Right. So this will be the proof that you can provide to your customers to justify whatever you are offering as part of that service. And you can seamlessly switch between this Nebula to the Secu Reporter so you can get that information as needed there. So the USG Flex H series, it's just a band of multiple different models that could stretch across anywhere between a 5-user account to 500 user application type thing. So it's all about performance, about UTM throughput. So if you're doing security and you're looking at something, uh, um, 600 megabits per second, take a look at the UTM numbers. I usually take about 50 to 60% of that number, and that's what you would use for your internet WAN, customer. So let's say, for example, the USG Flex 50, you have a customer that's doing, let's say, up to 300 megabits per second. You could utilize that 50H to do that. Or if you need something a little bit more powerful, then going up to a USG Flex 200H has 1.8 gigabit. That's probably great for anybody who has a gigabit connection, internet to WAN. And it also then provides you 2.5 gig ports if you want to do 2.5 gig within the local LAN, or 2.5 gig to the customer or to the internet. But again, it depends on how much of that security platform, those services that you have turned on. So that's the kind of your throughput guess is, again, about 50 to 60% of that full UTM throughput number is what you gauge it by. I think that's going to be the bigger bottleneck is that the UTM throughput than number of users or number of devices. So that's probably going to be what you best. So this is just another view of the spread of models. Those 100H and the 100 HP. The HP models are the ones that have a PoE 30-watt budget power on one or two of those ports that you can put a access point, an IP camera, voice for IP phone. It's primarily, most customers will probably use it to extend or give the network an AP without having to worry about another switch or a PoE switch in that mix. So it's made to secure small offices when you're using the smaller models like the Lite 68X or the Flex 50Hs. And then you can deploy into slightly larger applications or multiple remote locations, larger head-end offices and branch offices, and use our higher end models to provide those services. And then if you need to VPN branch offices back to that, again, using any one of the models in any one of the mix there. So you can do even further branches or larger branches, car facilities and things like that. And Zyxel is committed to offering, security services. So we have a commitment on the security hardware side. So we may announce something is going end of sale. So let's say we announce it today. So we will continue to provide 2 years after today any kind of enhancements. There's um, up to 2 years, we'll continue to provide features, enhancements, any kind of critical issues, things like that. But after the 2 years, we'll no longer create new firmware for specifically features, but we will address and we'll focus on any critical issues that impacts the operation or the stability of the device that have kind of any of the security services. And then 5 years after the end of market date would be kind of the end of life date, you would say, where all vulnerabilities and such will be on a case by case basis. We won't necessarily commit to anything beyond that 5 years, but it'll give you then 5 years worth of services all the way to the end. So then that way, if you have UTM services available bought today, you can know that you can enjoy those services for at least 5 more years. And so the licenses kind of reflect that same thing. So end of sale, end of registration usually will be, that 5 years is that end date. So any 2-year licenses will be on that 3rd year. That's kind of the last. Any 1-year licenses, the last time you can register it will be about a year before the end of life date, right? And then the end of life will be at that 5-year time frame as well. So if you're looking to become a partner or maybe you haven't become a partner yet, please consider jumping in. There's no cost for you to join our partner program, but you will get benefits. You'll get discounts at distribution. For that, right now, the bronze, we actually give you some discount. In the silver, we give you a major discount. And when you are a gold partner, you get a max discount at distribution. The qualifying sales to maintain those levels is if you do 6K per 6 months, which is 1K a month, then you'll stay in silver. But if you can push it to 2K a month, then you'll get to gold. And a lot of our partners, it's easy to get to gold as long as you sell something a month with Zyxel. You have at least one project a month that a lot of times fulfills that. Or if you're doing a lot of security appliances out there, many of our partners are gold in the year without selling any new hardware, but are offering renewal services. And so that covers their kind of their minimum in that regard. So we work through D&H, Ingram, TD Synnex, Wave, Target, and also Blue Star to providing our products into the channel. And if you'd like to connect with us, LinkedIn, on LinkedIn, it's a Zyxel-US-channel. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, it's just search for Zyxel Tri, T-R-I, and you'll find me there that you can connect and follow. We're also on YouTube. If you go to Zyxel America channel, and you'll find the recording for this, as well as other trainings and webinars. So it doesn't look like we have any questions right now, but if you do have any questions or maybe you think about it later on, feel free to send me a message at try@zyxel.com, and I'll try to answer those as I can, or I will direct you into that. So I hope this has been informative to you, and I hope that you do take consideration on making sure that your network is cybersecurity ready by providing these kinds of networking services and management solutions into what you offer to your customers. I think it's a responsibility for vendors like us to make sure that partners like yourself are taking the due diligence and making sure that the end user is being protected as best as possible, because we don't want the situation where that end customer comes at you as a partner and is seeking damages and seeking you know uh, a lawsuit to you just because of something that you could have done and protected them from the beginning. So it's a lot easier to take a proactive approach to these kinds of things, even though it might be more difficult to sell to your end users. But I think you'll notice and you'll see we have some partners who basically will say, if you don't accept this hardware solution, then I cannot risk my business and allow for you to be a customer of mine. So some people have taken that approach just to mitigate their own risk and their own potential loss or liabilities from being exposed in this way. So just be sure to stay safe and make sure that everybody else around you is safe. I always say to a partner, if you use this to protect yourself and your own business, then it should be something that you offer to your customers too. So if you have not yet um, tried one of these security solutions, we do offer a Nebula demo kit with the USGFLEX 200H. It also gives you an access point, Wi-Fi 7 access point, and a multi-gig switch with PoE so that you can power everything and integrate that and put it within the Nebula platform. So this can now give you a full flavor taste of what it would be like if you offered this kind of solution to your customer and providing those kinds of security features and functions as well. So thank you again for taking your time. I hope you have a great rest of your day, great rest of your afternoon, and I look forward to talking to you and seeing you at another Zycel webinar. Until then, have a great rest of your day.